In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to edit an audio file down to what we call a one-shot or single-note audio file. Then I'll show you how you can use that single-note audio file in an arrangement. First off, we want to check a couple of settings. For our edit mode, we want to be in slip mode so we can freely move about the clip. And we also want this function enabled, which is the tab to transients function. That allows me to tab within the clip from transient to transient as opposed to the normal tab function, which is from the beginning to the end of the clip. So I'll hit that button and let's bring this file in. And I'm not worried where I'm placing it. I'm going to extract a note from it. So let's hear what we have. Okay, so lots of individual notes. You could even use a chord. Well, let's take one snare note and one guitar chord. Okay, so I think I'll use a snare note that's a little later. That one's a good one. Okay, now since I have tab to transients enabled, when I hit the tab key, the cursor will jump to the beginning of the note. So I'll zoom in. Again, I'll hit the tab and tab again, and we're right at the beginning of the note. If I hold down the Shift key and click Tab, it will not only move to the next transient, but it'll stay selected from the previous one. So I'm holding the Shift key. Now I've basically selected that whole snare note. All right, I go under Clip, choose Capture, and I'll give this a name. Say OK. And I've created a new clip that is just my selection. Okay, let's do the same with a guitar chord. Let's find a nice one. That one has a little cymbal ring over, so I think I'm going to that one since it's just hi-hat in there. Okay, so I go through the same process. Hit my tab key. Now it's at the beginning. Hold Shift, Tab, Tab. We've got a little extra business there. We'll be able to edit that out in a minute. Clip, Capture. And I could have also hit Apple R to get right to the screen. And I have a new clip, so we can preview these. That's that clip, and here's the snare. Okay, that's good, but we have not sort of cleaned up our one-shot. With a one-shot sample, you'll want to have the beginning and the end at what we call unity gain, which is no amplitude. So if you put the samples back to back, there won't be a pop or click between them. Okay, so I'll just bring these in. I won't even worry about the grid just yet. Let's start with the snare. I can put the guitar over here and work on that. Zoom in a little. All right, now let's switch that tab to transient function off so I can tab to the clips. That'll be handy. So if I hit tab, I'm at the beginning, end, beginning, end. If I hold Option, it should go the other way. There it goes. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in on this snare. And the usual practice is if you want to have a strong attack, make a very, very short fade in so that the beginning of the sample is at no amplitude, unity gain, but it doesn't take away any from the attack. I might want to have a slower fade out depending how it sounds musically. Right now this snare is actually pretty good. It looks pretty close to unity gain. Let me zoom way in. So I'm going to just highlight this much and I'll choose Edit, and at the bottom it says Fades. Notice I could also hit Apple F to create a fade. This is what I want to fade in. And if you look at the times up at the top, this is like a thousandth of a second. You're not even going to hear it. Okay, now I'm going to use my tab key to get to the end of the clip and zoom out. Go the right direction. Okay. And for this one, I think I'm going to take off some of this tail. Let's hear it. Yeah, try to get rid of some of that hi-hat. So I'm going to take off some of this, and I'm going to make a fade out about that long. This time I'll hit Apple F, and it knows it's going to be a fade out to the end of the clip. Say OK. Now let's hear this whole sample. pretty good. We've got a little hi-hat tail we might want to get rid of, but we'll go with that. All right, hit my tab key, get over to that guitar sample. Okay, that sounds pretty good. Again, I'm going to try to cut off some of that hi-hat tail. Okay, let's zoom way in. I've tabbed to the beginning. There's actually probably a couple of samples there where the guitar chord doesn't really hit. I might try taking some of that out now that I'm zoomed in. And then I'll do my quick fade in, Apple F, fade in, return. Okay, sounds pretty good. Zoom out. And take off some of this tail. Make a fade out, Apple F, fade out. Okay, again, a little hi-hat in there, but you get the idea. Okay, now to use these in an arrangement. The last step before we use this clip in an arrangement is to consolidate it. We want to take the fade-in portion, the main portion, and the fade-out and consolidate it into one clip that we can drag from the clips list into our tracks. So I'll highlight the clip, including the fade in and fade out, go to Edit, Consolidate Clip, and now we have a single clip that includes the fade in and fade out, and notice it takes the name of the track. It's listed up here under Clips. Okay, so we want to probably rename this, so rename this something. And notice it says named clip and disk file. Once you've consolidated this clip, you've created an audio file of just this clip, which we can export into other music programs if we like. Press OK. There's our clip. Now we're ready to drag this and begin building an arrangement. If I switch to grid mode, I can start dropping these guys on the grid. So maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll put the guitar in the orchestra part. And then you can arrange them to generate a rhythm or whatever, just like you have with other audio clips. I have no idea how this is going to sound. Let's check it out. Okay, that was already pretty cool, just like that. So once you have these one-shot samples, you can drop them in as single notes. Works especially well with drum sounds and individual orchestra hits. In a later tutorial, we'll learn how to use these hits in a sampler where you actually can trigger them from the keyboard.